Hi, welcome to this video about HART, Analog Sky's latest stargazing binocular. I'm Robert, founder of Analog Sky, and I'm really excited to launch pre-orders today for HART and to give you a little tour of all of its features and where it fits into our vision of what we're creating. So we launched Magic, our 50mm binocular, last September, and over 250 people have signed up for our community and started their journey of building and enjoying their Magic binoculars. And Magic is 50mm binocular with about a 200mm focal length, and so that gives you incredible wide vistas, great for beginners to learn the night sky and then be able to zoom in by using different eyepieces, see the rings of Saturn, see the craters on the moon, see some of those classic sights that everybody wants to see. But also for experienced stargazers, 50mm interchangeable eyepiece binoculars with a bunch of really unique features is something that doesn't exist before. So for those super wide views, Magic is the only way to get that. And so that's where our system started, but we want to create a system that goes all the way from those super wide views all the way zoomed in as far as you could possibly want to zoom in. And so this is the next step up. HART has 80mm objectives, whereas Magic has 50mm. And so what that's going to let us do with its 400mm focal length is to zoom in twice as far and to also keep up that brightness at those higher magnifications. So the same brightness level with those big filled up 7mm exit pupils that you get in Magic at around 6 or 7x, depending on how you've configured it. You're going to get those same bright views at 11 or 12x in HART, except you're zoomed in a lot closer. You know, it's like 60% closer. And so that is giving you a whole lot more stars in the view when you're seeing that. I mean, to be in a nutshell, you're going to see nebulae a lot brighter. You're going to see a lot more stars, and you have a lot more resolution because the amount of detail you can see in your image is partly based on just how big those lenses are and how much resolution. Just think of the difference between like a 4K TV and a HD TV. It's that kind of difference between these 80mm lenses and 50mm. So for example, the double in Lyra up there, it's you can't quite split it with all the way with 50mm lenses, whereas in these 80s it's no big deal to split that into 4 different stars. And so you have that resolution boost, you have the brightness boost, and the ability to zoom in deeper. And we've maintained all the same great features that you've come to expect with our binoculars that will carry through the entire range as we move on to 200mm objectives and 400mm objectives. So I have a list here of things that I want to talk about on a piece of paper. This is unscripted, but I do have a list because there's just too many things to remember on their own. There's a variety of 80mm binocular telescopes available, and so part of talking about HART is talking about what distinguishes it, why build it. So right off the bat, you'll see we have these big 2-inch focusers. So being able to use 2-inch eyepieces means filling up your eyeballs with the most light that you can. Your pupil opens up at a dark site to, probably 7 or more millimeters, depending on various factors, age being one of those. But for the most part, most people can see 7mm. And so the only way to get that is with these 2-inch focusers. If you only have 1.25" eyepieces, you can't get above, say, 5mm. Just because you put 2-inch focusers on a binocular does not mean that you have the optics inside to get all of that light to the full field stop of that eyepiece, like these big Butter 36mm 72-degree eyepieces. The field stop of these is 100% illuminated by HART's optics. Now also, you can use any eyepiece with these. You don't have to worry about where the field stop actually is In the eyepiece, you don't have to worry about the undercuts. Anything works because we have these nice adapters on our eyepieces. This is a Botter 17.5 Morpheus. These 1.25" adapters let us use our 2-inch focusing tube. They have these handy little tabs that get securely into place and collimates it every time. So eyepiece changes are quick and easy. If you need more in focus than it provides, which shouldn't be the case because pretty much every eyepiece has enough in focus. But if you found an eyepiece that didn't have enough in focus with Hart, we have adapters that lets you get 10 millimeters closer. So problem solved. Any eyepiece, 2-inch or 1.25", as you can see, changing them out takes mere seconds. Speaking of which, filters. If you have 2 eyepieces and you want to put in filters, you have to do all of that filter changey stuff twice, right? Well, not with our magnetic cartridges. We just pop one in. We pop one in over here. And now we're looking through NPB filters. If I want to change between these 2-inch eyepieces and these 1.25" eyepieces, I don't have to take off my 2-inch filters, put them back in their case, take out my 1.25" filters, put out of their case, and screw those on to the new eyepieces. I just put in 1.25" eyepieces with 2-inch filters. And that took, I don't know, 10 seconds maybe, tops, because I was talking. If I want to move from 1.25" filters up to 2-inch, there, what was that, 5 seconds? How long would that take you if you had to screw filters onto the ends of your eyepieces in the dark? 1.25" filters, you don't have to use 2-inch filters like these Botter semi-apos. If you want to zoom in and get rid of some of that achromatic color, there's no sense in buying the 2-inch version, so we have adapters for the 1.25" as well. So, fast eyepiece changes, any eyepiece, filter changes, any filter. Field collimation, the more I use these binoculars of mine, the more I realize that probably the most important feature on these whole things is back here. So, most of the time you buy binoculars and the 2 sides are aligned. And the question is, how close? Do they retain that alignment? Do they keep that alignment for any pair of eyepieces? Do they keep that alignment for high magnification eyepieces? Do they keep that alignment for every person? Because everyone's head is a little different. Some eyes are over here and some eyes are over there. Not everyone's head works the same. Some people are cross-eyed, some people are wall-eyed. Those people really can't use binoculars, for instance. But with these knobs, we can very easily change that collimation. So this knob down here, this little red guy, allows you to move this eyepiece view up and down. This knob lets you move this eyepiece view left and right. So by using those 2 knobs, you're able to keep those 2 pictures merged for any pair of eyepieces, any human head, and if your optics get misaligned for some reason, I don't necessarily understand why that would happen, but assuming they would, you can just touch that up. You don't have to send them back to a factory in Japan. You don't have to send them back to a factory in Germany. You don't have to waste a whole summer waiting for your binoculars to come back. You just turn these 2 knobs to fix your problem. You know, and I love having people show up at outreach events and say, "Oh, I can't look through binoculars. I'm cross-eyed, or I have a weird prescription, or I'm wall-eyed, or whatever." I have yet to find someone who a quick turn of these knobs doesn't allow them to see what they're supposed to be seeing. So that's really handy. I don't understand why commercial binoculars don't have that, but no rush, guys. That's field collimation. Let's talk about micro baffling, and we'll talk about field cleaning optics at the same time. So, I should mention, I haven't mentioned this, you get to build Hart. I don't build Hart. I put together the kit, I put together the video course, but you get to put it together. It's fun, it's easy. Ask any of our 250 members who have joined and built their Magic or their Sunny or their Ember. It's actually fun to do. But if you're the factory, you're also the maintenance crew. So let's take a look at how we get to those optics. Here's our upper optical tube. Let's say we wanted to clean behind the front objective. There's a single thumb screw on this panel, this baffling panel, that allows access to that objective, and I can clean that off. If we get some dust in there, or debris, or spider webs, or something like that, because we take these outside into nature. Now, while I have this off, let me show you. Can you see this in here? I don't know if you can see this because the thing that I'm trying to show you is the baffling. There's little ridges all the way along this that help bounce bad light out and keep the good light. And that makes it super, 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 super dark inside these tubes. Much darker than you get with paint. I tested it against the flocking board that everybody uses to put in their big Dobsonians, and this is darker than that. So we have standard baffles here that are designed specifically for a 45mm field stop eyepiece. So they are not going to vignette our big 2-inch eyepieces. If you build a binocular telescope, do you know, are the baffles inside of that made for 45mm field stop? It's a good question, right? These ones are. Anyhow, there's the big baffles right here, and those are knife edge. They're very thin. They're 0.4mm thick, they're thinnest. And there are also all these micro baffles. So super dark while being super lightweight, and you can get in to clean your optics really easily. And you just snug that thumb screw right there. Over here, again, we can get right to this mirror in the back, and you can see this is a super thick Antares secondary mirror. This is not the thickness of mirror that we are shipping with our optics kit, but this is just one I already had mounted up, so I couldn't wait to put it together, so I just put it together with the mirrors I already had mounted up. This is super thick. The one we'll have is a lot thinner and lighter, while having a great coating on it and excellent optical performance. But as you can see, super easy to get in there to clean up that mirror, and then we just pop our baffle back in here, nice and snug. Oop. And there we go. Same thing up here. We can get to that objective. Even in the field, if you had a really super, super dewy night and somehow the back of the objectives got dewed up, that's something you could do out in the field to take care of it. Or if you had dropped cookie crumbs in the open focuser hole. We eat cookies when we go stargazing, my buddies, and maybe we eat cookies, so maybe you get some cookie crumbs in there and you got to clean them out. You can do that because this is about changing the design to work with this new paradigm of you being the builder, you being the real owner of these binoculars. You're not just renting them from a company that you have to send them back across the seas to get fixed when something goes wrong. So rather than having to tear apart this whole thing to get to those optics, I wanted to make sure that you could easily get in there, clean off your optics, and get back to observing. The next thing on this list is ultralight. So you probably noticed these are really thin panels, and this binocular has been through over 3 years of design tweaks and 4 different kind of major versions. This version is the final version, and this version was all about lightweighting. We went from 9 pounds with the first one all the way up to 11 pounds with the last version that had a bunch of fun molding and, you know, nice kind of rectangular case similar to Magic. But it got up to 11 pounds, and it just started to feel unwieldy to use on a tripod. So I said, all right, what do we need here? What can we get rid of? This one is just under 8 pounds, which makes it the lightest 80mm binocular telescope in the world. What does that mean to you? It handles like a dream. You don't need as much mount. It's really over mounted right here, because this is my outreach setup for durability purposes, but you can use a smaller head, a smaller tripod, and we'll have recommendations for that in the course, obviously, of good tripod and head to get. But really, this thing is incredibly light at under 8 pounds, and it just handles so nicely. It does not feel that much heavier in the hand than using our Ember 50mm binoculars, which are about 5 pounds. Spending less money on your tripod means you get to spend more money on eyepieces and filters. What do we have? We have multiple mounting options. You see all these holes? All right, so we're mounted on the bottom here. Speaking of tripods, we're mounted on the bottom. We have a video fluid head on a video tripod, and I love that setup. But if you already have an astronomy tripod mount, or even a go-to mount with a side saddle, Vixen saddle, a Losmedy saddle, any kind of saddle that you want to throw at it, we also have holes here to move the mounting plate from the bottom to the side, and then you'll be able to side mount these binoculars. We are configurable for accessories. Yeah, let's stay on that. Let's stay on this side for a while. You see this cool grid? These are M4 holes, so that means they're 4mm holes, and this is going to allow you to mount any kind of accessory that you want on there. If you want to put a finder on there, like a red dot finder with a Vixen dovetail, we will have a Vixen dovetail mount that you can just screw in there, and it stays rigid. It's really firm in that spot. We're going to have a grid. We introduced a grid in Sunny and Ember, which is a grid of squares, and you can print and install that style of grid on the top here too, so that you can swap your accessories easily between your Sunny or Ember and your Heart. Right now we have the default laser module installed in there, and my first idea using the idea of Heart was to have a button here that is heart-shaped, which fires your laser. And I think you see that green laser? That's a safe under 5 mW green laser that is tested as a machine component laser. We show you how to put that together with this little button. It's super easy, and it lets you find things really quickly. It's my favorite way to find things in the sky, but obviously you can't always use that. Maybe you want a red dot, maybe you want a pie finder to do some plate solving. You could even put a Telrad on there if you really wanted to. You can put just about any finder you wanted, or you could mount a phone on there and use an Astro Hopper app or something like that. So the sky's really the limit in having places to mount accessories. On the side here, on the top, we have a plate over here as well with the same 4mm grid. I don't know if you can see that from this angle, but we have some of those in here, so you could even bottom mount those, and they're the same dimensions and specifications as this one on the side. So our optics are 80mm, 400mm focal length objectives. That makes them f5. I like f5 because that has a wide range of 30-ish millimeter eyepieces to choose from for your really wide field eyepieces. I love these Botter 36mm aspherics. Incredible views, but there are a lot of choices, and we will be releasing probably later this year a course on how to make your own 34mm and 46mm eyepieces using binocular objectives. So those will be options as well for creating your own high quality, low cost, wide field eyepieces. So anyhow, that's our objectives. And what we are launching our pre-orders with is a special coating that is 99.5% transmissive. Our pre-order launch will be dielectric coated, so they will also be 99% reflective mirrors. And so you are getting as much light as you possibly can through through this optical system. Let's talk about these lens covers, should we? We're talking about the lenses. Let's talk about the lens covers. They have a little thumb screw that holds them on here. And there's a really particular reason for that. And that is, if you don't like f5, if you'd rather have f6 or f7 or f8, we have aperture mask rings for you. So here's f6. And then these just live on here. So now we're at like a 67 millimeter f6. So basically like a 70 millimeter f6 is what you're looking at. So you can choose your aperture masks. We have, like I say, f6, f7, f8. So that's a 50 millimeter f8. So those of you who know about aperture masking know why you would want these. And I thought it'd be handy just to build them into the caps. I hear somebody else already does that. I was kind of disappointed because I thought that was a clever thing to think of, but that's fine. It's more important for you to have the feature than for me to be the person to think of it. Anyhow, you know, for planetary views, I think being able to stop it down a little bit to f7, 60 millimeter might give you a really nice view. Of course, you combine that with these semi-apo filters to get rid of any other false color if you're one of those people who really has a hard time with false color. I don't necessarily, but you have that option and it's free. So those keep your lenses protected. These dew shields keep the dew off of your lenses. And you'll be able to put EVA foam over these to extend them even longer if you want them even longer for maximum light blocking. Though this is pretty sufficient in my opinion. So that's a lot of features. We have constant improvement as well. So you see all of these parts are 3D printed. When we come up with updates to those parts that work better or have more features, if you have your own 3D printer, you can just download them and print them and install them on your binoculars. You don't have to buy a new model. If you want to go from standard optics to upgrade optics, we have a design for an aspheric 80 millimeter objective. It's not cheap, but we have a design for it, and if we can put together a run of those someday, we would love to do that for our members. And you don't have to buy new binoculars to get those. You just put them in your old binoculars because these are yours and you should feel attached to them. These are your binoculars and you can work on these things and have them as a companion for life. So that is the idea here, is we have a community of people who use their binoculars, give user feedback, come up with new ideas of their own, and we're all about integrating as much of that as we can into this design because we want you to enjoy your binoculars and feel like they really are your own. Everyone's looks different. Everyone's magic looks different, believe it or not, because people like to customize and make it fit them, and we're all about empowering people to do that. So let's talk price. Are they $1 million? No. Are they $100,000? No. Are they $10,000? No. Are they like the other 80 millimeter binocular telescopes that are anywhere in the like $1,600 to $8,000 range if you buy those Kowas for some reason? No. If you have your own 3D printer, you can pre-order Heart and build it for $549. That gets you the aluminum frame, all the hardware you need, the optics, and the little extras kit that we give you. And as part of our pre-order special, we are including the course itself, the video course that shows you how to put it together, for free. So $549, which is less than you can pay for an Ethos eyepiece. You have an incredibly new way to see the night sky. You can see incredible views of the summer Milky Way. I can't wait to get this new build out and see how this micro baffling does with things like Barnard 168 there between M39 and the Cocoon Nebula, all of those dark nebulae up there in Cygnus. Being able to see IFN stretch from M31 to M33. We're talking about being able to see IFN stretch from M81 and M82 all the way up to Polaris. So if you like chasing IFN, really faint things, I've seen the O3 arc off of M31 with these, and you know, it's like I say, if you're saying, oh, I have my hydrogen filters in here, I wonder what it looks like with O3 filters. That's how long it takes you to find out. So I want you to think about exploring the night sky with an instrument like this that really allows just total freedom of changing eyepieces, changing filters, moving around the night sky, zooming in, zooming back out, in total comfort of having both of your eyes open the entire time. And what an experience that is compared to having to be incredibly methodical about all of those steps. How much more observing you can get done in the night, how many more things you can discover for yourself, maybe discover for everyone, who knows. There might be some stuff up there like that O3 arc outside of Andromeda. Can you believe we just found out about that? And you can see that in here, and you can see a lot of other things in here too. It's an incredible view, and I'm really excited to share that with you. And so if you'd like to jump on our pre-order, we are doing an initial order of 30 units. So we're not trying to sell 1 million of these. I wish we could, but that's what we're able to do right now, is put together an order for 30 sets of all of this stuff. So if you want to jump in to this project, it's going to be a ton of fun. If you don't have your own 3D printer, by the way, I forgot to mention that. If you don't have a 3D printer, we will print the parts for you. And that's also part of why we want to do this pre-order. It's going to tell us how many parts we need to print, and it will give us some funds to actually buy some more printers to do that in a timelier fashion. And so that is going to be $8.99 to get the entire kit for all the other stuff I talked about, plus the 3D printed parts. So all in $900, and that will also include the entire course for free as well. So September 1st is the date that we are going to start shipping these kits, and that will depend on when our optics get here, and it'll be first come first serve on how many of those 3D printed parts we can crank out and get out the door. So thanks for checking out Heart. analogsky.co/heart. You can sign up for pre-orders. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, or sign up on analogsky.co. You can go up to the members button at the top of the website. You can sign up for a free account and join our community, find out what people are talking about on our online community, and check out our proto blog, where I have been detailing the prototyping of this latest version of Heart. And that's a great place to ask questions and ask other Analog Sky users how they've been enjoying their binoculars. So this has turned into a long video. Thanks a lot for watching, and hope to see you out under the stars.